Call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda, council, is to approve the resolution of 2208.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Hall.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Dry. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Gene Starnes, would you join me at the front in one of these chairs, please?
Thank you.
Tonight we are here to recognize and honor Gene Starnes for all he has done for our city for how many years I don't begin to know. I know the business is 124 years, but for you I can't say exactly. But thank you exactly. Not quite that many, but thank you so much for all you have done for our city. All the years I've been involved, I never know a time that you haven't been there volunteering or doing something to support our city or a business downtown. And we thank you very much for that. Whether it was the Arts Council, the URA Players, or you selling tickets for just about any kind of a play or organization that was having anything in our downtown, thank you. You have been there for us.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
Well, we appreciate all you have done for us. And I'm going to go around here in just a minute and give council a chance to say anything they would like to say. And then I'm going to give anybody in the audience that would like to take a minute and say anything to Gene. Please do so. We'll start with Mr. Dry.
Well, Gene, thank you for all you have done and will do. This is not the end. This is just another beginning. And we look forward to your contributions in the years to come. And thank you so much for being you, the person that you are, the gratitude that you deserve from each person in this community. God bless, long life.
Mr. Whitley.
Gene, I've known you a long time, mainly originally through banking, and I saw you would come in and you'd be off a trip somewhere, Amsterdam or somewhere, and I was so envious. So I remember that, banking with you, and just so you'll know, he's not going anywhere. I've asked him to serve on the Catalyst Grant Committee that the council is starting up, and he's agreed to do that. So I'm looking forward to working with him on that, looking forward to his expertise and advice and getting that thing off the ground and up and running. So, Gene, well, congratulations. You won't not be busy. I can assure you, you'll be busy. So,
Mayor Pro Tem Hall.
So, Gene Starnes, you live and you work all about 4 blocks from each other, and you have for a long, long time. Your sister will walk that on a regular basis, I'm sure. Gene might not do it. At one day, he might have done that. But when you think about living in Albemarle, working in Albemarle, and you think about Albemarle, you think about Starnes Jewelers. And for anyone who is new to the county, they used to hear Gene on the radio on a regular basis. His wonderful, wonderful announcements on Leon's radio station. That's all I used to always call it, was Leon's radio station. Gene would have his special, maybe not a diamond is a girl's best friend, but he would have some wonderful, wonderful advertisement, but he would always end it with, I want to be your jeweler. I'm Gene Starnes, and I want to be your jeweler. Gene, you'd think you were running for office or something, always telling people what you want them to do. You have had many years of being just active in this community, and for that we are all grateful and look forward to all the years that you yet have to do stuff with us, though you may not have Starnes Jewelry open after that. Thank you so much, and missed you. I believe I missed you at community concerts this past Saturday night. I looked, but I didn't see you, so might have missed you there. But thank you very much, and enjoy your retirement.
Ms. Louder.
I'm not next, though.
You are if you want to see it.
Gene, I have the pleasure
Oh, no.
Lord.
She's going to get on her knees.
She gonna have-
Oh, no.
He's married.
She was.
Ms. Hughes,
Oh, Lord. Well, I mean, how do you top that? I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. Jean, it was a pleasure to work with you. I think the first time I really got to know you was we worked on the downtown Christmas parade and the downtown Christmas. Thoroughly enjoyed working with you on that. And then also have frequented your jewelry store many times, buying dishes that my husband had to go down and pay for, which he reminds me of often. And also, of course, jewelry. And a woman can never have too much jewelry. So you assisted me just in the last month on a pearl bracelet and getting it fit, and it fits perfect, I might add. So I wish you much happiness in the coming years as you retire and live life to the fullest, because you've already done a lot of that already. Thank you.
Mr. Townsend.
Gene, I still wake up in the mornings and I hear your voice.
Get rid of it, Dana.
I'm looking forward to that day. I don't know who's going to replace it, but something kind of prelude the morning news every morning. But I just want to thank you for your faith and dedication service, not only to your community, but in particular the city of Albemarle and downtown in particular. I will say that Albemarle and our downtown is a much better place thanks to you. We appreciate everything you've done. Wish you a good retirement.
And now I don't normally do this, but I'm going to leave anybody in the audience that wants to say anything. I just hold it to about a minute, please. Anybody would like to say anything to Gene? Feel free to. Dr. Johnson?
Gene, with Dean and I have been friends for 42 years long, so this is a great benefactor of the arts. I too, Dexter, Vista, on the radio. You are a fair from Jewel. God bless.
Anyone else?
There's one over there.
I see a hand.
I would like to say something. My name is Sue. I'm helping Mr. Dean with all the time I've been in the sale. And I want to give you a perspective from an outsider. You can tell I'm a Yankee. I'm from Pennsylvania. And I can tell you honestly that I know what the heart of Albemarle is now.
Oh, that's beautifully said.
That's well said, Gene.
Yes, it
You
was.
are the heart of Albemarle.
Yes.
And as Chris said going around earlier, you've served on so many committees over the years, and now that you're retiring, you're even taking on another one. So we thank you very much. Gene, we have a resolution tonight in honor and recognition of Gene Starnes and Starnes Jewelry. Whereas, as of 2022, Starnes Jewelry will have been in business in downtown Albemarle for 124 years. And whereas staying in business and remaining viable for the century of service is an amazing accomplishment for any business entity. And whereas Starnes Jewelry is a fixture in downtown Albemarle and contributed to the local economy with the payment of taxes, utilities, purchased local supplies and materials, employed local families, and whereas Starnes Jewelry and owner Gene Starnes are known throughout the region for their quality products and outstanding services. And whereas Gene Starnes has also demonstrated tremendous commitment to the downtown, having served on the Albemarle Downtown Development Corporation Board of Directors, the Historic Resources Commissions, and various ad hoc committees, and has been selected as Albemarle's Main Street champion in 2008 through the North Carolina Main Street program. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and city council of the city of Albemarle recognize and honor Gene Starnes for 24 years of continuous service in Albemarle, and owner Gene Starnes and the Starnes family for serving the residents of the city of Albemarle, Stanley County, and the region for their commitment to the downtown Albemarle. And be it further resolved, the City Council of Albemarle does hereby adopt this resolution this 21st day of March 2022. And Gene, also, we would like to present you with the key to the city that is mounted on top of this plaque. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank everyone for this. It's quite an honor. I want to thank Pat and Chris Bramlett and all my wonderful employees that we've had through the years, and none of this would be possible without their support and their help and all of our loyal customers. And thank every one of you, and thank you for being here. It's been my pleasure from the very beginning. Thank you.
You don't have to stay the rest.
I think we ought to go out and join the party.
For the next two items, I'm going to recognize the chairman of the Albemarle Downtown Development Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Each year at the North Carolina Main Street Conference, the North Carolina Main Street and Rural Planning Center recognize the efforts of dedicated individuals who have contributed to the success of local programs across the state. Each North Carolina Main Street program may designate one individual, couple, business partnership, organization, or civic entity as their community's NC Main Street champion. This designation honors that person or persons who have made extraordinary contributions to their downtown community. While Albemarle truly does have a village of dedicated volunteers, residents, entrepreneurs, and civic servants, when ADDC was asked for our 2021 champion nomination, one name rose above all the rest and was our board's unanimous choice. The public knows this person from seeing him at ribbon cuttings, downtown events, and maybe even by watching city council meetings online. What they may not see is the constant effort quietly behind the scenes, bringing partners together, championing innovative ideas, encouraging and recruiting others to also give their time to make Albemarle a better place. Believe me, my husband and I have experienced those quiet conversations several times. I could say much, much more, but I would like to let this Main Street video do the rest of the talking.
Ronnie Michael, Albemarle. For over 3 decades, Mayor Ronnie Michael has tirelessly served the community of Albemarle. Following his retirement as police chief, Michael served on city council, then was elected mayor in 2013. Joining the Albemarle Downtown Development Corporation's Board of Directors in 2013, Mayor Michael was instrumental in bridging the gap between the nonprofit organization, city administration, and elected officials. He worked diligently behind the scenes to cultivate the renaissance that downtown Albemarle is experiencing today. Mayor Michael's vision prompted the property swap between Albemarle and Stanley County to bring Pfeiffer University's Center for Health Sciences to downtown. The Pfeiffer effect has brought a renewed interest in downtown Albemarle, spurring investment in commercial and residential projects and breathing new life into vacant buildings. Mayor Ronnie Michael has dedicated himself to the Albemarle community as a selfless public servant. Albemarle Downtown Development Corporation is proud to name Mayor Ronnie Michael as its North Carolina Main Street champion.
On behalf of the board of the Albemarle Downtown Development Corporation and the NC Main Street program, I am honored and proud to recognize Mayor Ronnie Michael as Albemarle's 2021 North Carolina Main Street champion.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I have to say, I'm humbled to receive this, but I have to be honest. I'm just out at the forefront. I get all the help from this council, from all of the Albemarle Downtown Development volunteers, from the other volunteers downtown, and all of these city employees. So I have to say thank you to all of them for me receiving this reward. This reward is for all of us. Thank you.
I'm the next agenda item, too.
That's where you are. Go right ahead, Edna.
Also, each year at the North Carolina Main Street Annual Conference, the North Carolina Department of Commerce and the North Carolina Main Street and Rural Planning Center announce NC Main Street Award winners. The North Carolina Main Street Awards recognize the hard work, dedication, and success of Main Street communities and their achievements in the 4 points of the Main Street approach to downtown revitalization: economic vitality, design, promotion, and organization. At this year's Main Street Annual Conference, held virtually earlier this month, the ADDC was proud and honored to, on behalf of the City of Albemarle, to receive a 2021 Award of Merit for the Pfeiffer University Center for Health Sciences. The collaborative effort it took to bring this project to life in downtown Albemarle received the 2021 Main Street Award under the organization pillar for Best Public-Private Partnership in downtown. Tonight, I'd like to recognize and honor those partners whose hard work and cooperation were instrumental to this Main Street success story. If there is anyone here representing one of the partners, as I mentioned, I would like you to come down to be recognized. Pfeiffer University, Stokes Construction, Little Diversified Architectural Consulting, Stanley County, and the City of Albemarle. At this time, we also have a video telling a bit more about the Pfeiffer effect and what it has meant to the renaissance of downtown Albemarle.
He did.
An award of merit is presented to the City of Albemarle, Pfeiffer University, Stokes Construction, and Little Diversified Architectural Consulting, and Stanley County for Pfeiffer University Center for Health Sciences. In 2016, as Pfeiffer University was considering locations for a satellite campus in Albemarle and the surrounding counties, both the City of Albemarle and Stanley County administration and elected officials worked together to secure land for the new campus. The proposed site, located at 245 East Main Street in Albemarle, was the home of the Stanley County History Center. The city of Albemarle worked out a land swap deal with the county, agreeing to house the History Center in the city's former City Hall annex. This freed up the property for Pfeiffer to build. The former History Center, a non-contributing building on the National Register of Historic Places, was raised to make way for the new campus. Pfeiffer University's former president, Dr. Colleen Keith, shared with the city of Albemarle the idea and potential benefits of locating a Center for Health Sciences campus in the downtown district. Dr. Keith had experienced success with a similar downtown campus concept implemented through Spartanburg Methodist College in South Carolina and wanted to bring the same model to downtown Albemarle. Groundbreaking for construction took place in January 2019 with building in South Carolina and wanted to bring the same model to downtown Albemarle. Groundbreaking for construction took place in January 2019 with building completion and the first group of students taking classes in August 2020. Located in the historic Five Points area of the downtown district, the Center for Health Sciences is home to the Master of Physician Assistant, or PA, studies and Master of Occupational Therapy, or OT, programs with a focus in rural health. The facility features the Center for Advanced Clinical Simulation Education with 4 simulated ICU rooms, 1 surgical suite, and 1 emergency department trauma bay. The center also features a fully functional clinic with 6 exam rooms where students, alongside faculty, will provide much-needed community health services. The PA program has 2 dedicated technologically advanced classrooms and a multi-purpose room for collaborative learning activities. The OT program has a full activities for daily living room with a functional kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom used for experiential learning of various occupational tasks with simulated disabilities. The cost to build the Pfeiffer University Center for Health Sciences, including construction and fixtures, was $18 million. The university created 25 full-time jobs and 1 part-time job for the center, including faculty and staff positions. Since August 2020, the Center for Health Sciences has brought more than 200 graduate students to downtown Albemarle. The associated need for student housing has spurred 2 downtown residential projects: the residences at the Albemarle Hotel and the Louder Hardware Residential Rehabilitation Project, which together are projected to provide 58 units. In addition to the residential projects, several businesses are opening or expanding as a result of the boost from the Pfeiffer effect.
The saying goes, it takes a village. Can there be any better example of how, when all the villagers, public and private, work together, the whole village benefits? I'd like to also mention that this video has not only been shared multiple times on our local social media, but it will remain for the next year on the North Carolina Main Street website, where it will hopefully serve as inspiration to other communities when they see what Albemarle has accomplished. Thank you again for the opportunity to share this good news about our downtown with you. Our ADDC board will continue to be inspired by these award winners and continue the work that we've done for years to do our part to make Albemarle a wonderful community to work, to visit, and in my case, to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Edna. Thank you, and thank you to all the partners that helped make this a successful program in our downtown. Thinking back to when we were first approached by Pfeiffer, I can say that council and all of our employees that have been involved supported this program 100% to get it going. And we have been very fortunate to do what we've been able to accomplish over the last few years. And it has not been easy because it's taken a lot of support from our employees. I want to recognize many of the departments that were involved in it, not only our administrative type departments, but also planning and zoning, IT, public works, public utilities. And I know I'm probably missing some of them, but everybody's had a part in making this a successful program. And we now see what we've always hoped would happen to our downtown. And over the next several years, and for hopefully decades to come, Pfeiffer will be an anchor of what's going to occur in our downtown. and we will see much more people living downtown and more business coming back to our downtown. So thank you very much for everybody that was involved in it, and thanks so much to the Main Street program for recognizing us.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
the mention of the Pfeiffer effect, I think that we would be renowned if we don't admit or to give credit to Chris Bramlett. Chris was sitting up here on the dais when he really coined that comment, the Pfeiffer effect, because the whole time we were in discussion, he kept saying this is going to be the beginning of a lot of different great things. And that's what he said. It's the Pfeiffer effect. So whenever she mentioned that in that presentation, I just thought, I wish Chris were still here to see that, because that was his coined phrase.
Mr. Ferris, anything you'd like to say?
Just to add on to what you had said, Mayor, first of all, thank all the departments, all the city employees that worked to make this happen. It took a lot of creativity, innovation, but I think we all knew that, it benefit to both parties or all parties involved. And we had set a course in motion for our downtown of what we wanted it to be and what our vision was. And I think it's worked out well for everybody. And that type of collaboration and cooperation hopefully can be duplicated in other instances, because I think it is just a wonderful thing for our community and builds and provides for lasting effects and improvements beyond any of our tenures and for future generations, and helps really build the community. Because when you think of a community, you first think of the downtown, because that is your identity of what you're all about. And so I think we've set a good example and something we set the bar high and things that we continue to work towards. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5, approval of minutes. Consider approval of the minutes from the March 7th, 2022 regular and closed session meeting.
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Townsend, second by Councilmember Dry. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move into public hearings. The first is Ordinance 2219. Consider zoning map amendment for Belmont Circle from LID Light Industrial to RO Residential Office. Mr. Robinson, if you'd introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a ZMA 22-02 is a requested rezoning. Parcel is on Belmont Circle. It's approximately a third of an acre, 0.32 acres. The applicant is Matthew Linker, owner of Linker Built LLC. Right now it is zoned LID, Light Industrial District, and what is proposed is RO Residential Office District. So that they can build a house on the lot that is 1,230 square feet. Really not absolute. We have that in there, but I wanted to correct that that typo for you. 3-bed, 2-bath, single-family home. If I could show you real quick, this is the parcel at the northwest corner of Belmont Circle here. Troy Alexander turns into Belmont, loops around. It's right there, and there's an alleyway behind it. This is the city's property, the former mill, across the railroad tracks there. The property is vacant right now. The proposed use is single-family dwelling. Adjacent to this, as you saw in there, light industrial district zoning. To the north, to the east is RO, to the south is also RO, and to the west is LID, light industrial district. There aren't services currently provided to the parcel, but they are nearby. There are single-family homes on those other lots. Future land use map designates this parcel and the surrounding area as neighborhood residential, which is defined as areas located within the city's corporate limits and include many mature neighborhoods. Public utilities are available, and extensive road network and sidewalk networks already exist. These areas are intended to provide for residential infill development with a wide range of housing types surrounding the town center area. Low-intensity business uses located on mixed-use buildings or buildings designated and constructed at a residential scale and appearance are also appropriate. Development considerations include compatibility of infill development with existing building patterns. The property is not located in any regulated floodplain or watershed. Here's the future land use map right there. You can see the what is in the light brown is the neighborhood residential district. At the March 3rd Planning and Zoning Board meeting, Planning Board unanimously recommended for approval of this to be rezoned to RO with the consistency statement as provided. The applicant intends to rezone this lot to RO in order to be congruent with adjacent zoning districts and uses. The regulations of the RO district are intended to provide for preservation of older homes and structures in areas experiencing high demand for multifamily residential and other office and non-residential uses by providing increased flexibility in both residential density and allowed uses within existing structures. Given the proposed use, the parcel's proposed use, and the future land use plan and its proximity to RO district on adjacent properties, the existing single-family uses nearby, there are merits for the proposed rezoning to be consistent with the city's future land use plan. We have provided the consistency, inconsistency, and future land use map amendment statements for you.
It will be the property owner's responsibility to bring the utilities to his property, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone who cares to speak for or against, please come forward.
Move that public hearing be closed.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hall to close the public hearing, second by Councilmember Aldridge. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Council, what's your wishes?
Move approval of ZMA 2202 with the consistency statement.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hall to approve the zoning map amendment with the consistency statement.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hughes. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, number 7 is ordinance 2220. Consider zoning map amendment on Russell Road from R10 General Residential to GHBD General Highway Business District, 2203. Staff, if you'll introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. This is on Russell Road and US Highway 52. It's approximately 6.59 acres. The applicant is Morton Management Company, LLC, also owned by Morton Management Company, LLC. I believe Nathan Russell is here as well to represent for this property. Currently, this property is split zoned R10 General Residential Business District and GHBD General Highway Business District. And what is proposed is for the entire property to be GHBD General Highway Business District. I'll show you real quick on the map. For some reason, the residential did not show up on here, but this is it shows up as white. So it's proposed for this portion to be rezoned. Let's see. There's no changes proposed right now. What happened was this property, there was a changeover in the power. I believe it for whatever reason, it had crossed the 180-day threshold for which the structure that was located in the residential section was allowed to be grandfathered in. So now in order to be turned back on, it needs to be zoned to General Highway Business District, so it's conforming. Property has been a storage lot for JT Russell equipment and also an automotive shop for the fleet. They intend to maintain that use as it is. Adjacent to this is R10 General Residential. In the north, to the south, LID Light Industrial District. To the east, GHBD. And to the west, R10 General Residential. No services are currently provided to the parcel. I don't think that's true. There are services on the property at this time. The future land use map classifies this parcel in the immediate surrounding area as commercial, which is defined as areas generally located along major thoroughfares that contain a wide array of commercial uses. Typical retail uses include shopping centers, restaurants, and convenience stores. Other heavier uses may include many warehouses and automobile sales lots. Majority of this property is designated for commercial use with only a small sliver of the property included in the general residential. Given the historical non-residential use of this and adjacent properties, the location next to a railroad and a state highway, the future land use designation of industrial across the street, it can be assumed that the intent of the future land use map is to maintain current non-residential use consistent with GHBD on site. And you can see right here that a good portion of the property is already zoned for the GHBD, which is in the red right here. A little bit of it is in the orange right here, which is residential. Again, this is just a policy guide. We don't actually have parcel lines shown on here. At the March 3rd Planning Board meeting, the Planning Board unanimously made a favorable recommendation to City Council to approve this rezoning with the consistency statement. The property located at Russell Road and US Highway 52 is split zoned, and applicants requesting the parcel be rezoned to GHBD to be for its existing use to be in conformance with the zoning ordinance. Given the proposed use, the parcel's proposed use under the future land use plan, there are merits for the proposed rezoning to be consistent with the city's future land use plan. We've provided the consistency statement, inconsistency statement, and the future land use map amendment statement that was given to Planning Board as well.
Council have questions of staff? This is a public hearing. Anyone who cares to speak for or against, please come forward.
On behalf of one of the owners of the property, we're not going to change it for anything that's already not been used for the past 40 or 50 years. It's going to maintain a shop and a place to park our equipment as we move forward with our businesses. And like he said, it went outside the 180 days between us purchasing the property, and so power got turned off and get turned back on. The power department told us it needed to all be zoned into the business district. So that's the reason why we brought it and why it was ever R10. That's a long time ago before us.
Council have any questions? Anyone else care to speak for or against?
Motion to close public hearing.
Motion by Councilmember Townsend to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hall. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Council, I'll enter.
Move approval of ZMA 2203 with the consistency statement.
Second.
Motion to approve ordinance 2220, which covers the ZMA 2203 with the consistency statement by Councilmember Hall. Second by Councilmember Aldridge. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to announced delegations. Number 8, Nathan Russell to request partial abandonment of Riley Street.
Thank you all. We, working with Kevin, we've, when we first kind of took over and had Riley Street, I know it's the cities, but the road's never been paved. The road is in just real bad condition. So I said, hey, can we partial abandon it in the middle? Because at the same time, we were found pickup trucks on the property. They were having police, probably drug deals or whatever going on there. So whenever I asked Kevin, how do we go about it? We came and said, hey, is there any way to do a partial closure of Riley Street? And so what we have is the road is, people are driving all over the place. You can see the roads it's not getting any better. Let's see. But what's happening is everybody's starting, and Burrell's here, he has his rental house right here, but everybody to miss these potholes all out here, they're starting to drive through his yard. And if you look real close, right there's a water meter, so they're getting real close to start hitting the water meter and all that. And so Kevin had a drawing of what it would show the partial of it, but I don't see that on here. But it was just pretty much in front of the property there on Riley Street. But we were just wanting to close it, and I said in return, what I would do is if we could close it down here, I would pave this street in front of here down to our property line. Kevin, you don't have the that thing you sent me. I thought maybe
Jay might have done that. Let's see.
Kevin, I think the area proposed to be closed is the attachment in the agenda package,
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
what I'm trying to
hashed
pull
out
up right now.
from Russell Road south.
it would just keep a lot of throughput traffic from coming through there. And I said I would pave it all the way down to the quarry right here entrance. And then we would, a lot of times we would have a gate or something to keep people coming through, but then we would give the city a gate for any type of easements there might be. But, I mean, you can see people will come in, you can easily access both sides off Russell Road and then also in the, on down here behind Crooks, because pretty much all the houses stop a little bit further south of Riley Street. But we were looking at just really abandoning from the property line here to here. And then in return, I would pave this road for the city if I could abandon this portion right here. Other than that, I mean, it's not, then if it would just need to fix the road up, because it's, I don't know how to go back to those other pictures, but you can see just how bad the road is, and everybody's starting to drive in people's yards. Oh, yeah.
So is your request tonight, Nathan, to have a public hearing?
Oh, I asked, I didn't know how to, that's why I was asking Kevin to abandon just this portion right here.
Council, as staff has told you in your memo, that this does have a sewer line, and the problem that we may have with abandoning it is it's partially railroad right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all city street. So if council wants to look at it further, I would encourage you to let staff look into further the legalities before we do anything. But at this point, we could improve the road by putting some gravel on it. But we'd also want to talk to all the other property owners all the way through the property, because you are cutting off from Morton Street all the way up to Russell Road. You would not be able to get all the way through. So we'd want to do some research before we would agree to do anything.
The problem is if you put the gravel in there, it's just going to keep rutting out. I mean, it's always had gravel. We have a lot of trucks that run in dust control. And, the dust control is solved by paving.
Your assessment problem is going to be you got a railroad on one side. Mr. Aldridge, you got a question?
How long is the road been in that condition? I mean, I'm sure you probably travel that road quite often.
Probably 3 years. It's I know working with Ross, they'll call, hey, dust control, and Burl will be like, man, it's dusty. I mean, we can run 50 trucks through there a day. And it's just, it needs to either, if it's really important, it needs to be at least paved down to the, quarry. And that keeps the dust and the trucks and all that.
So excuse me just a minute. So Mayor, right now though, the request is either to, at this point, is either to have a public hearing or to not do anything with it.
Until you do some research, yeah.
Or to deny it.
Yeah.
So you've got one of three things that you can do. And it looks like to me, if I may continue,
yes, ma'am,
that staff has done the research and it's right in front of us. Why put off something that's, have,
Oh, I don't think so. I don't. We just said we'll fill out whatever we need to fill out.
but the next step would be to do a public hearing if we move forward.
Or if there's some
Additional
issues with
research.
railroad right of way, wouldn't we need to know that
Oh, yeah.
before?
I think we'd have to know that before we set a public hearing, yes.
Because we can't take any action if we don't know that.
One, if you haven't been on that part of Riley Street, the pictures don't do it justice. I mean, it is a horrendous road. You ought to just do it for the fun of it. Especially if you've got a Jeep, Michael, you can really have some fun down there.
I went up there, but I had just washed my
Need your
truck.
vehicle knocked
Oh,
out.
my. Oh, my. And if a motion is necessary, I'd make a motion to allow planning to continue to do some additional research. Let's get the facts. Let's get it right the first time so that we know what we have to do, where we're going, and where we can help Nathan and his company.
And that also includes contacting our property owners.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Dry that we let planning move forward with looking into it and talking to all property owners and finding out all the legal aspects and bring it back to us.
Second.
Mr. Aldridge.
Second.
Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Does that include contacting the railroad?
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be the legal aspect part of it. Moving on to administrative reports. Departmental monthly reports are in your agendas. Anyone have any questions?
I have a couple of them, or a couple of comments. Attaboy to departments there that were using those, putting dates on things. Some of you actually went well beyond that. And the fire chief is here. Just a question, you can do this or like this. I think I know the answer, but Will Hoyt is right now serving in that fire marshal's spot right now. Is that right? Very good. Got a couple of emails from him this weekend, just following up on the weather, which I'm very appreciative that we've been getting those. I'm happy to see that the NeoGov performance feedback performance tool is starting up. They're doing studying on that in April, fellow members of council. And one thing that happened about 2 weeks ago, and I'm making this public because I want it out there, particularly since the police chief is here and since Lisa is here. Lisa's saying, wait a minute, what's going on with the police chief? The Albemarle Neighborhood Theater on 3rd Street. Just for public to hear and for anybody else that may have heard about something that may have occurred. There is no parking that is reserved there on 3rd Street. All of that parking on both sides of the street is public parking. And I say that because for those of you watching or those of you in the audience, there have been and are going to continue to be a lot of activities at the Albemarle Neighborhood Theater. And parking there in front of the place, you park where you want to. We had, when URI Players was there a couple of weeks ago, someone who lives in an apartment there, not in the central apartments, but across the street, got very upset because their parking spot had been taken. And it happened to be my car that was there. And I knew it was all open park. I mean, I knew it was all. So, I mean, I just wanted to be clear that this is all public parking. There are no reserved parking spots there. And there's a lot more going on starting this weekend. Isn't it this weekend? Talent Company is going on. So there'll be stuff going on there. So I wanted to bring that out. And the last thing, thank you to our electric division that are here in full force, and our water division who was out last night in full force on my street because we had a water main break. But thank you very much, and particularly the electric division, the picture on there when the pole broke and caught on fire. Oh my goodness. So thank you. At least I read it, right?
Moving on to the consent agenda. Number 10, Resolution 2209 to accept state roads for city maintenance. And number 11, consider road closure for the Rotary Club fundraiser.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Motion by Councilmember Aldridge, second by Councilmember Townsend. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 12, under new business, proclamation to designate April as Autism Acceptance Month. Who wants to speak?
So on behalf of GHA Autism Supports and the people we serve, I want to thank Mayor and City Council for recognizing and designating April as Autism Acceptance Month. And quickly, there is a new CDC report from 2021 that now says that 1 in 44 children are diagnosed with some form of autism spectrum disorder. So we move from awareness to acceptance because that is very important for people in our community. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to read it into the record if I might. Autism Acceptance Month Proclamation. Whereas we recognize the culture of autism as a unique way of being and strive to be an inclusive community equal for all citizens. Whereas autism may impact an individual's social, behavioral, and communication in a variety of ways and knows no racial, ethnic, or social boundaries. Whereas we are dedicated to expanding possibilities and providing access to services and supports to enable individuals with autism to reach their fullest potential. Whereas we pledge to promote residential health, employment, and social opportunities for individuals of all abilities. Whereas we recognize the importance of empowering individuals with autism to live lives of dignity, self-determination, and respect. Whereas we value and celebrate the gifts and contributions of our neurodiverse community members. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City of Albemarle joins the United Nations and the United States government in proclaiming the month of April to be designated as Autism Acceptance Month in the City of Albemarle as a symbol of our commitment to create a culture of diversity, inclusion, and equity for all people, adopted this 21st day of March, 2022. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I'm going to come out and present this to you, and we will get you a frame. We're just now signing it tonight.
Hot off the press, literally.
Literally.
Kodak moment. No more. It's just for tonight. That's right.
Number 13, Dr. Kim Scott, Director of Public Housing, to request the closing of Inger Street entrance to the Department of Public Housing.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Of course, I'm Dr. Scott, and I wanted to speak with you regarding the closing of Inger Street at the end entrance there or exit. Met with the residents twice, the residents council twice. We took an informal observation and survey with the residents, and they were in favor of closing due to the fact that we've had several, just this past Sunday and last Saturday, we had an incident occurred where in dealing with the police department, they suggested that it would be easier to apprehend personnel who were coming through the community. And mind you, these individuals do not live in the community. And as a matter of fact, on Sunday's incident and last Saturday's incident, these individuals were from Mecklenburg County and Anson County coming into Amherst Gardens. So in meeting with the Residents Council, and we had Chief Bullhorst, he was there with us. The recommendation was made that if we did close or put a temporary barricade there, something that was movable, then we could deter a lot of the traffic, because in actuality, what was happening was individuals get into the community, they go down at the end of Inger, and by the time they get to Leonard Avenue, they're on 24, 27, and oftentimes gone. So I would like to propose, with the support again of City Council, if we could put a movable barricade. And speaking with Chief Bruton, he probably could give us a little bit more of an idea of that movable barricade. Would you?
And could y'all talk about the difference of doing a movable, why we would want that, or we would just close it off completely? I mean, I'm ignorant to that.
Right.
Okay? I mean,
Well, in the early 90s, I was here, and I was the Resident Services Council. And when we wrote our drug elimination grant, I was the one that proposed that we close Inger Street at the end, and it was a permanent barrier at the time. We had several incidents then where people would come through, and it helped the police department to apprehend the suspects because they only had one way in pretty much and one way out.
I think Kevin's got something too.
Doing this just for the incidents when you could be on a daily basis have other impacts.
Right, and that we took that into consideration and well because we talked to. That's okay. That's okay.
I was involved in that when you brought it forward many years ago.
Early 90s, yeah.
And we did put a permanent barrier there. And I supported it then. I support it now.
Right.
Because I think it does provide great safety for the neighborhood, residents.
I disagree. And I disagree for a number of reasons. Back when those permanent barriers was up in the 90s, there was an incident in particular. We said that it don't impede emergency personnel, but I do recall there was a fire, I think on the lower end of Grigg Street, and the fire apparatus was coming down from Leonard's, trying to go into Amherst, and they actually had to go around all the way around the block because of that permanent barricade.
Right.
Additionally, we got a pedestrian plan. Pedestrian plan is built to improve accessibility, not only by foot, by bicycles, by vehicles. We need to consider that. We doing a lot of improvements on trying to add retail shopping and stuff out there near the Walmart area. And if we're going to impede accessibility to that area, I got a problem with that, because we need to make it easier for the residents to get there rather than make it more difficult. And then on another note, just 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, we approved the first phase of approximately 16 houses coming into South Bell, and we had our primary concern was the width of that road, and then we talking about sending more traffic out over to that area. I think we've taken a step in the wrong direction. And if we do move forward with this, I hope we don't do it without a public hearing.
Further questions, comments, council?
Should we let staff work on this more?
Do you want staff to? Well, I think the first thing is probably, if you're going to do anything, have you actually did a survey through your entire neighborhood?
Yes, we did a survey.
A written survey?
We did a written survey and we did a verbal survey of the people that we could not get to in time for this meeting. So we did conduct a paper survey.
What were your numbers?
We had a number of about 38 residents that we could get to that returned the paperwork to us. And of the 38, there were 30 that said they were for it. The others opposed because they said they just wanted access to Walmart quickly.
I mean, Kevin has had no time to do any of his.
Right. I totally leave with letting staff bring it back to us.
Staff needs to
let them study it and bring it back to us.
Sir, you mentioned in your comments earlier that a lot of the situations, the crime related stuff that's been going on, have been people that do not live in the community. Do we still have? At one point in time, the police department, we had a banned list. So folks that were over there, do we still have that? Is that still okay? Okay.
But we in better shape in 2022 than we were in 1990. In 1990, we did not have cameras, which we tried to get for years and years. In 1990, we did not have the speed bumps that we got in 2022. So we got some things implemented in place that should somewhat deter them at some level.
Yeah, I agree with the advances that have been made. However, with those advances, I think what we're trying to do is with our partnership with the police department is to assist them in apprehending these individuals when they come through the community. I would like, again, I see every day when children are out playing in that area, and people have learned that the faster you go over the speed hump, the less friction you'll have on your vehicle. So that difficulty comes. But our cameras have worked well in the sense of apprehending and getting pictures. But again, once they go down Inger, down that hill, and they hit Leonard and take that left, they're often gone by the time the police can really do what they need to do. So,
Mayor, can I ask, I guess my question will be, is there anything specific, if council wants staff to look into this, which we'll be glad to do. I do kind of think that what we may wind up is with are two very legitimate but opposing views on this, but both for very good reasons, just coming from different places. So I don't know that there'll be a cohesive staff recommendations. We can provide input for and against, from the resident side, from a planning standpoint. I mean, both are very valid. Is there anything that council wants us also in that to specifically look at, do anything else before we go down that path? I'm just anticipating that's where we might wind up.
I would remind council that, and I value the input from the resident council. They reside there, but keep in mind that Inger Street is also a city of Albemarle Road, not just public housing.
Correct.
So if we do take action, I think we need to have a public hearing from the general population.
Oh, I agree.
The biggest problem, it appears to me, is the criminal element.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, Chief, you may disagree with me, but they're pretty ingenious. If they want to come in, they're going to find a way in.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to find a way out.
Right.
And what can we do to better serve the community for protection, to be able, I know the reaction time is quick, but we're dealing with folks who think different than we think.
Right.
And if they put that to the legitimate thing, they would probably be up there with Stephen Jobs and some of these people.
Right, right.
But I think that's got to be one thing we've got to look at in depth, is what can we do to provide more protection in the roadways, or however you want to look at it. That's what we got to stop. We can't stop the traffic.
Right.
I
don't think we'll be able to stop completely the crime, but I think we can impede the progress somewhat.
And if we got great cameras in public housing now, obviously the people from Anson County and Mecklenburg County, I would think that they know who they coming to see. Maybe we need to start reviewing the cameras a little closer.
Right. Well,
and rid public housing of the problems.
I agree. I think for years, as I was here in the 90s, I think what has happened and occurred is the idea is you can go to Amherst Gardens and pretty much do what you want to, because again, we may be more aesthetically sound with our cameras, but still, that traffic coming through can be a difficulty, and we could deter it, and so our police officers can do what they need to do. The cameras do work well. We just need to spend more money, I suppose, in finding more money to get more cameras if that's the case. So,
Council, have any recommendations for staff before we move on?
I've always been a big proponent of cameras and surveillance. I think they should be everywhere. I just don't really have an opinion on the closing of the street right now. I don't know.
Well, I think
one thing I do want to mention before I forget about it, this is kind of off track. You mentioned those speed bumps are not working that well.
No, they deter depending on the size of the car.
In our ordinance, in that situation, do we allow speed humps?
So we don't have a policy that allows speed bumps or speed humps whatsoever. Right. When this issue came before the city council maybe 2 years ago, again, trying to be somewhat creative and addressing a situation that was a little bit different. When you go to other apartment complexes, what you usually have are private roads. So everything is private. In Amherst Gardens, the property belongs to the city, so we can control that. Sidewalks, everything in the right of way is still public right of way, so we can't say have a gated community because there's private roads behind that. We can't tell somebody, well, hey, get off the sidewalk, it's private property. So these are public roads. So we are trying to say, in any other situation, an apartment complex for their own safety, for the safety of residents to control speed, has traffic calming devices like that. And so council agreed to make that exception because that, in any other situation, would be a situation where you could have those sorts of controls. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I know those are much more effective, I think, because depending on how they're built, you're not going to fly over those generally. But they're much more expensive. They're permanent. And I don't know that maybe that's a discussion for later.
More of a traffic hump or a traffic table, I think maybe what they call them.
Dr. Scott, have you had an opportunity to look at any other, whether it's public housing areas or any other communities who are experiencing the same challenges that you are? Have other municipalities, have they closed streets off or done things to kind of deter criminal activity that you're aware of?
Yes, they have. I've spoken with what I classify as my mentor in Anson County. They do have a community that just has one way in, one way out particularly, and they've seen a major decrease in the number of people coming through, and then they've seen an increase where the police department can apprehend the suspects much more quickly and efficiently. So yes, I've looked into several, also in the city of Greensboro. They have several areas where the street is one way in and one way out of the community. Mm-hmm.
Council, have any other? I don't have a question right now. I need something from council. You got a motion? I don't have any motion.
Yeah, I make a motion.
To do what?
That we call for the question. Do we agree or do we disagree?
I have no motion on the floor. If you want to put a motion on the floor, I can call it.
That would be.
All right, what's your motion to put on the floor?
My motion is going to be that we vote on whether or not his request is allowed. Will it be allowed? We vote on that.
Your motion is to approve his request? Is that what I'm getting? Well, I have no motion either way. No one has made a motion either way. So you made a motion to call for a vote, but I haven't had a vote. Are you saying that you are moving to approve it or deny it? I need a motion one way or the other to act on it.
Vote on that.
Mayor. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, like to make a motion that we, since Kevin has not had an opportunity to look at it, that we give planning an opportunity to go in, look at everything, look at the details, and come back to us with their assessment.
Motion by Councilmember Dry to give planning and staff time to come back with a proposal.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Louder. Further discussion.
Just would ask, and that's not just planning, but fire and police too, whomever, all the staff. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 14, employee retention and compensation update and action.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Tonight we've got a presentation that it pertains to the entire city, all departments. But this evening we're focused on the electric department and what we're seeing right now. But we're going to start out in a broader scope, talking about the entire city. Before we get into it, I'd like Dennis Gurley to speak for a few moments.
Mayor, council, thank you for hearing me. I'll be brief. First of all, I am the electric superintendent, but also I am a customer, City of Albemarle, and I'm a customer who likes having my power on, as we all do. The issues I'm having as a superintendent, I'm getting great people in here, they're getting trained up, and I'm losing them to other municipalities, one in particular. Entities such as Duke Power, Union Power. I'm just losing them. And behind me here, these are the guys that have experience. These are the guys that really have the knowledge and keep things going. In 6 years' time, you're not going to be looking at 6 faces. You're likely going to be looking at 1 face.
And why is that?
We're all eligible to retire.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. It was not just leaving, but
Yeah,
retirement.
we are.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie to you, even my experienced guys, they're getting job offers, unsolicited job offers. I mean, they're
Is
not,
it the city of Monroe that's taking them
yeah, no, it's not.
for the
all.
most of them? Is that where the most of them are going to the city?
That's, yeah.
Well, listen, I mean, it is what it is. Let's
It
just
is
put it
what
out
is.
there.
Yep, absolutely. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I really don't want to have to buy a whole house generator when I retire. So
Currently, do we have any openings?
Yes, ma'am. I believe you got 2 job postings on Friday.
That was the posting
actually
for Friday. Okay, I did
yes,
see
we
that on
had
Friday.
one of our electric meter and substation tech. He was a crew leader. He left. Unfortunately, our superintendent is now having to cover that role. That job was posted, and also a line tech level 1.
I saw those on Friday, but I
So-
didn't see any on your activity there
Because that's
that
for the
happened.
prior month. Yes,
Gotcha.
ma'am. So thank you so much, Dennis, for being here tonight and for all that you do for the city. We'll go ahead and get into the presentation. Again, this does focus on, it's an acute problem in electric, but it's something we're seeing throughout the organization. The first slide we have is just showing the turnover at the city from 2015 to 2021. So in 2018, we had a lot of retirements, and that was the reason for the huge amount there. And then it really dipped in 2019, and now we're seeing it creep back up. And this is something that all municipalities are seeing. The voluntary turnover rate in Albemarle for 2021 was 14.4%. For the average turnover for organizations that year was 24. So we're below that. But, COVID and everything really changed everything. Some people are referring to it as the Great Resignation. Everybody's just reevaluating where they are. And you see the color coding there, and you see a lot of that with the purple with utilities, which is electric. The blue also with police, you'll notice. So I know some of you may want to go back and look at that later, and we'll share this presentation out to give you that opportunity. Since July of 2021, we have taken some action. We implemented the comp study results across the organization. That was an average 8% increase across the entire city. But we also, in order to be fiscally responsible, we capped increases at no more than $5,000 per employee. So in areas that were severely behind, such as electric, there's obviously more to do. We have continued throughout this year to monitor our comp forecast and our actual expenditures versus our budget. We are glad to report that we are under budget according to our forecast right now, working closely with finance in that. Because of that, we've been able to address compression in some key areas such as fire and police, and a lot of our directors have been creative in doing some internal promotions, reclassification, reorganization to retain talent. With our strategic plan, one of our key goals is to invest in our workforce to enhance operations and efficiency to better serve the community, and we want to adhere to that commitment and keep moving forward in this effort. So I'm going to let Dan let you know right now, how our electric operations stand.
Right. Over the last 12 months, when we're looking at the 18 employees, we've lost 1 crew leader. We have not lost any level 3s as of yet, but we only have 3. We've lost 2 level 2s, 2 level 1s. That equates to 28% turnover in the past 12 months. And if you go back and look at the last 48 months, we've had 68% turnover. When you're considering that it takes 5 years at the minimum for someone to come in and be trained to a level 3 and be at the minimum acceptable level, and we're not talking truly proficient at what they're doing, having 68% turnover in this last period is pretty scary. Right now, we have 5 employees that, as Dennis hinted to, we've got 5 employees with active job offers. If they were to leave, that would be 56% of our department turnover in the last 12 months. I'll show later on again, but if we lose 6 of our top people in the next 6 years, imagine what we're going to be, the situation we're going to be in. As you look at City of Albemarle versus other utilities, NC Public Power being electricities, the average outage time per customer in minutes, as you can see, Albemarle, we rank pretty well in that at 77 minutes. Where you have the co-ops, 146, Duke Progress, 147, Duke Carolinas, 175, Dominion, 115, and we're slightly above the average in electric cities. Average outages per year, we are looking better than all of them at 0.59, others being as much as 1.63. This is just some of the recent Facebook comments. I'll let you take a look at them, but number one, when the power goes out, it's nice to be able to come here and see what's going on and how long we can expect it to take. Thank you so much for keeping us updated. As Dana said, with the loss of our meter substation team leader, Dennis is now, when we have a major outage, Dennis is going to have to be at the substation working and no longer going to be able to coordinate and feed myself and Michael information so that we can get it out to the customers. I think my favorite is probably the last one. The city service does not fool around in getting power back on. My refrigerator and I appreciate all you do. Thank you. These were just different ones that we pulled off Facebook. The impact on electric operations. If we do not do anything, we're going to see increased cost, risk, and downtime. Right now, we have 1 Lee electric crew, but by losing some of these level 2s and level 3s, at minimum, we're going to have to hire another Lee electric crew, if not 2 more, at $650,000 each crew.
May I ask a question?
How many people
That's what I was.
comprise the crew?
That's right.
The Lee, 4 people on the Lee crew.
And they're here 40 hours a week when they're here. Isn't that right?
So what's the 650 cover? Is that a month? Is that a what?
That's a year.
That's a year. Okay, good. Well, I didn't know. I mean,
No,
I know things are expensive.
it's $13,500 a week.
Okay.
And that's their equipment that they've supplied as well as their hours. Yeah. We get the deal because help me out, but we pretty much, they've been here so long,
Yeah.
they've grown with the city, and they appreciate the relationship.
We were one of their first customers.
Okay.
But the difference in that is that they, they're not city employees, they're
Right.
contract.
Right.
And they don't, they might have their own benefits package, but, okay. Thank you.
Longer outages. If this were to happen, the Lee crews that we currently have, or the Lee crew, the majority of them live approximately an hour away, and we could see the same. So rather than being here nearly instantaneously, you're looking at an extra hour.
Right.
New crews, the Lee crew we have, they've been here. They know the city. But as well as our crews, we lose people and get new crews. like me, when you're new to the city, there's a learning curve. Additional overtime for remaining City of Albemarle linemen. It goes without saying, without those other crews, they're going to be out there a lot longer. As Dennis said, within 6 years, we'll have 7 senior employees eligible to retire with very few to replace them. You've heard the numbers. We're very few already. We lose more. There's just not going to be the backfill opportunities. And we've already talked about one full-time substation employee. That person has less than a year of experience. So Dennis is having, fortunately, Dennis came from the substation crew. He's having to step back and take care of that crew himself.
So no surprise, even though we've made some adjustments, we have 2 basic drivers for turnover at the city, continued focus on compensation, and then the limited career path. And I placed on council's table this morning, those are 3 of our recent folks from electric that did leave us and some of their comments, so you have those to review. And they agree we've gotten our entry-level pay where it needs to be, but where the need is within those higher levels. And that's true not only in electric, but other areas of the city as well. We got some information from electricities about how the market is shaping up right now. So right now, that apprentice line worker for us, that's a line worker 1. You know, the lowest pay is NC Public Power, and that's their average, and City of Albemarle is lower than all of these. The line helper or ground worker, that would be a City of Albemarle line worker 2. We're lower than all of those. The senior journey level line worker, $32.96 being the lowest, we're lower than that. And the line crew leader, those are the averages. NC Industry, Southeast, and NC Public Power, again, we're lower than all of those. So you see here where the City of Albemarle currently comes in. Our level 1 averages an hourly rate of $19.96 an hour right now. Our level 2's at $21.95 an hour right now. Our level 3 at $24.81, and a crew leader at $28.55. What we'd like to do is take a step right now, a midpoint step to immediately increase those averages, bringing a level 1 average to $21.43, level 2 to $24.50, level 3 to $29, and a crew leader to $32.80. So that's what we'd like to do. So that would be recommending immediate increases for electric staff to move closer. So this is just a stopgap measure, right? That would be an average increase across the group of 12%. The total impact to the current budget would be $47,300. That includes overtime, FICA, and retirement, and that could be covered through equipment costs, I believe, that we are not going to fulfill this year. We also, go ahead, Martha Sue.
Just, if you don't, hang tight 1 second.
Okay.
This is all enterprise money, is that not correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I just want to throw that out there.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
Enterprise money, number 1.
Is there, I'm sorry.
No, just, and the other thing is that with COVID, yours sort of got crushed together.
It did.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Was it this time last year that we did that increase?
It was prior to that. It was prior to that. We actually did an increase in 2020, and then we did the comp study last year.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to remember. If, again, everything got compressed.
It got
So
crunched.
2020, we had one of these.
Yes, ma'am.
And then 2021.
We did the holistic.
Right, the
Yes, ma'am.
implementation of the comp study.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes.
that 5,000 max last year
was with the comp study.
was just last year.
Yes, ma'am.
That increase that they got the year before
Mm-hmm.
was just then.
Mhm.
Okay, because I couldn't differentiate what year it was. Okay.
Right. Right.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
What?
If I
Go ahead,
may,
Benton.
Are we experiencing folks leaving in a specific level, 1, 2, or 3, or is it pretty much all over the board?
It's all over the board. So we have like a level 1 who Dennis had already said, this guy's great. I want to grow him within the organization. And he left and went to the town to the south. And, you know, because he can immediately see the career path and the movement forward there. So we're losing the level 1 techs. We're at greater risk, though, for the higher level techs because they can go and double, you know, $10 more really easily.
Well, the other ones, if I heard you correctly, that even in 4 years, they're not at that it's real.
Right. Takes 5 years.
Right.
Truly not seasoned.
Right.
And when you lose somebody with 10, 12 years, you've lost a lot more than just what paper
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
the understanding of the city, the understanding of working with the other crew members. Just this goes on and on. The value.
If this is a stopgap, what do we really need to ensure that we not only continue with the fine training that they're getting, but they feel that we are behind them, helping in their growth and their success. And that, as an employer, that's what you have to look for with your employees, is that there are other things that are out there, but when you get into direct competition, and you don't always know where your competition is lying in wait for, what do we really need?
Right. So one of the things, go ahead on
And
that.
maybe
and then
that's
then we'll tell
putting
you
the
the
cart
long
before
term.
the horse, but I sort of like the cart before the horse sometimes.
One example, Councilmember Whitley and Mayor, you were at Electric Cities last year, and there was a slide, and this is a year old, basically a year old now, and it said that Duke, the level 3s, could make $39 an hour. We have one making 22. It said at the co-ops they could make $36 an hour. This was before the inflation we're seeing. It really, things have gotten even further out of control. So this stopgap is immediate. We're looking for immediate. And then we're going to have to, we're at your mercy to allow to go on.
So in the first year, we talked about one of our goals with the comp study is to divide the city into thirds, right? And begin that work. And in that first year, we'd want to include those areas of highest turnover, which would be electric department, and possibly look at a mid-year increase for those departments. Okay, so we would get the data as early as possible to look at doing something in the middle of the next fiscal year. So we're talking about this as we're doing budgeting planning now. We have not finalized this. This is just initial thoughts. As I've talked with finance and with the city manager, as we talk about how to divide those departments into thirds, the goal was to balance the salaries each year, the amount of salaries that we're considering. So if you divide us into thirds, we're looking at a salary amount, total payroll of $4.5 million each year would be under consideration. I was also given the goal to try to balance between the general and enterprise funds so we could balance the impact to the budget, and then also to reduce the impact of market studies on the budget overall, so it cost us less to do that work each year. So with that in mind, we've got a proposal. It's not definite, but in year one, what we'd like to do is focus on those areas of highest turnover. So that would be like electric, police, and possibly water sewer systems distribution. In year two, what we'd like to do is really focus on as much diversity of departments as we could, which would include possibly fire, housing, streets, parks and rec, all those frontline folks. And then in year three, possibly looking at the support teams, the back office, HR, admin, finance, those types of things. That's an initial proposal that has not been settled. So we're having those discussions.
So who has this discussion been with? Has it been with the leadership team?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leadership team doesn't know any about this.
Right.
Basically,
this is just on the table. That's what we're considering, but we're not ready to move on that. We're working in budget now.
And
Dennis,
go ahead.
Dennis, what do you think about this? Is this workable? Is this going to help you do what you need to do? And these fine gentlemen sitting out here.
This is basically retention. This is not recruitment.
No, I mean, what we're seeing with recruitment, it's so difficult right now. I'm having people accept offers, and then before their first day, they're rescinding because they're getting something else. So I'm having that happen in, a position at the landfill, and then my same thing happened with my risk manager. So this is retention. Yes.
So I think.
Go ahead.
So could you go back to the last slide? and you may have said this, and I may not have heard you, but the proposed right here, how did you arrive at that metric, or how did you arrive at that number?
These were looking at different communities similar to ours in size, municipalities close to us, trying to get the best numbers that we could. Also trying to look at, going back.
That previous slide that showed the targets
Mhm.
there. So
Yep.
using those as a reference, knowing we'd like to get there, but we can't get there immediately.
Well, I know you said in all four of those metrics we were less, but I didn't hear the amount, which that's irrelevant. But I just wanted to know how, and I also was thinking about, it said you had five teammates right now currently considering other offers.
Yes, sir.
So if this were, if we were to adopt this or pass this, do you think that would stop the bleeding from?
Look at the audience, they'll tell you.
No, it's not.
It's a step.
And that's why we would propose to have the electric in the first round again and do the full salary survey so that we could find out in this unique environment of inflation and rising costs what everyone's doing.
Well, obviously, it's not affecting whomever's grabbing our people. The hell with it. You know, we got great people.
We got awesome.
We got to do what we got to do to ensure that the citizens of Albemarle have the resources at a high level that all the folks that work for the city bring. And this is just my opinion, regardless of what the others are doing, we've got to look after our own first and foremost. And I don't know where we stand between go ahead, Martha Sue.
I've got 4 comments, and I don't want to be the devil, because I appreciate electric like I appreciate everybody that's over here and everything that they do.
Right.
This is not just a one and done over here, okay? We know that we've got, I hate to use firefighters, but I'm going to use it. We use firefighters that go to Concord. We have police officers that are going elsewhere. Part of it is money, okay? And I'll say that in large letters. Part of all this is money, and part of it is not, okay? We got to figure out what it is that we have and we can provide in the city of Albemarle, whether it's whichever department, to show them the benefits that they get to work for the city, okay? I worked in Monroe. I know that the city of Monroe has a 401 and all these other kinds of things, and it's not money right now, but it's that retirement that they can. So there's a lot of other things there. But this is what I want to say to my fellow council members, guys and ladies. This is, March the 21st, and we knew last year when we approved this comp study that we were going to do a third, and a third, okay? I am certain if every department head out here could bring us the same, the same numbers, different folks, but same numbers. So that's 1, 2, and 3. But and again, this I don't mean being the devil, because I think that we've got to pay our folks, okay? And our greatest asset are our employees, and I know that. Do we still have the lineman program at the college?
Yes, we still have a lineman program at the college. The lineman program turns out the level 1s, which then have to come into electric and be trained by the people with more experience. It takes them a long time to get up to speed.
It takes years.
Does it really?
Yes.
Yes, that course is a fine course.
It's a great course.
They learn how to climb. They learn how to operate bucket trucks. Then they come to me. And we have to teach them pretty much
everything.
That means when you retire, you can go over there and teach, Dennis.
Pretty much.
That's what happens is you go teach.
I think we all understand where we're coming from here, and that it's not a singular problem that we're dealing with. Unfortunately, we have to deal with it singularly in order to be able to take a piece to make it the whole.
Right.
And God knows in this environment that we're in today, I don't care what type of business you're in, it's difficult.
It's very tough.
I'm a small business person, and our freaking government, well, I'm gonna strike that. You know, my gas bill doubles each month, and I can understand what we're facing here, and I think, you know, we have to address the primary reason, and that'll send the message hopefully to the whole workforce that we're behind you, we're going to work for you, and whatever we got to do to make it happen, we have to do it. And I'll hush.
My last comment, and I'll hush, is that the reminder that this is an enterprise, that this is completely, I mean, everything in electric comes straight from our electric rates under an enterprise fund. And I don't know, is our finance director here?
Yes,
Okay, I couldn't see it. And if I were to ask him, he would say that we've definitely got money there. I mean, to be able to do this.
I do think we have to, I do think if I'm sitting out here and I'm these other department heads, they're the ones who've got to go back and talk to their staff.
Amen. Yep.
Okay, council, what's your wishes?
Just a thought, why couldn't we have had this Friday?
This information?
Yes.
Information? I'm assuming she was still working on putting it together.
I just think this is a lot for us to decide tonight.
Right.
And you have hit us with a ton of numbers, and I respect those men completely, but I just need time. This is going to impact your decision tonight. I was the one last time that did the 7% raise. I know. This is going to impact a lot. This is going to impact every city employee tomorrow. If we vote on this tonight without giving it serious consideration, and I'm not saying yes or no, I'm saying let's stop, take a second, review, read, digest. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying yes or no. This is a lot of information and a lot of money. We need to have time to think about it. We just got this 30 minutes ago. And maybe I'm the only one that needs some time to figure through it, but this is a lot, and it's going to impact not only this department, but every other department in this city.
I brought up 2 months ago when I brought this up whenever we met next door at the church doing budget workshop, but I brought it up in a manner where I knew that our linemen, our police, and our fire, although we value all city employees, we know that we got to do something for those 3 core services within the city. And I was hoping that we came back with a global plan for those 3 departments where we can implement something, you know, at the same time.
So we have been able to address some compression in both fire and police. I've worked with both of those. And we can continue to work with all the department heads because we are, I think Jake, Michael, and I are monitoring the budget. We do have some funds there where we could do some things in this fiscal year. We've just been watching it really closely so that we don't, go over where we are. But I think we do have some flexibility, and we'd like to do it in this fiscal year if we're able. So we've already had some of those conversations. We just wanted to, bring this dire need tonight. And this is just a start, right? Because it has to be an ongoing effort, and we do want to include everybody in that 3-year rotation, not only with the comp, but also putting career ladders in place across the city. We've got a model. That was the other handout I shared with you of, just putting out what's expected so people can help themselves get to those higher levels. As Martha Sue mentioned earlier, launching that performance feedback tool so we can get true merit pay back in, which would be helpful for everybody. And then looking at our benefits option, we've got to introduce another lower cost option for those that are carrying dependents in the 401k match that Martha Sue referenced. So it's a lot. I agree with you. So, and I understand that you want time to consider it. I just don't want to lose more staff.
Absolutely.
What did you say the total cost would?
Total cost of this was 47, I believe, and that included the overtime, the FICA, and the retirement.
For just this fiscal year?
Just for this
So that
fiscal
talks
year,
about
yes,
three-
ma'am.
3 months?
Yes, yes.
Well, I'm
Yes.
concerned that the attrition is so high, the turnover is so high.
It is.
And with everything else that's coming up and all the other power lines that are going to be run in the next future, 5 years, whatever, next few years, I don't think that if it wasn't that critical, that they would have brought it to us like this in this manner. So and this is not, it's going to be more. I mean, this is not the end of it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So me personally, I feel like we ought to go ahead and do something now.
I agree.
Louder.
I didn't hear her ever say that it's supposed to go in this year's budget. Did you say that?
Yes, ma'am. The 47 would be through the end of this fiscal year. Yes, ma'am.
At the end of this?
Yes, and then, yes.
What about the others?
So the others, we're working on budget for the next fiscal year, and that will all come to council for approval, every last bit of it.
All right, council, I need a motion.
So moved.
A second.
Motion by Councilmember Wright to approve the request, second by Councilmember Townsend. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Before we do that vote, I know the motion is to do this, and I do support it, but I think the comment has got to go out there that we have got, 280 employees.
Yes, ma'am.
280 employees, and how many are in electric?
19 right now.
Okay, so we had 260 less admin, 250 employees that are going to get this tomorrow. Some of them are watching it right now, and they're going to say, okay, if we start fussing or if we start going out and trying to find another job, that's going to happen to us. And it's not that I don't think you guys need it. Okay? It is everywhere. And so we have got to be real in what it is we're going to be able to do.
And I was talking to somebody at the league, and they said they've never seen anything like this in local government before. People are retiring earlier because they can. Everybody is truly considering where do they want to be and what do they want to be a part of. And I think we have to do our best to continue that commitment to all of our teams.
Okay. You indicated that you have 19 in public utilities.
No, we have 90-some in public utilities. In electric, we have 19.
Electric. That's just electric.
Scared me.
Councilmember Hall, I don't disagree with what you said. Regardless of how we feel, the need is there.
Oh, I know
And
it's there.
It's going to be accepted and regurgitated at the same moment, regardless of how and when we do it. It's a matter of necessity is not the right word, but if we putting it off is not going to solve the problem. And we've got a motion on the floor.
Well, I just would like to say, I'm in support of these guys and what they do, but you've got to remember the 240 some other staff out there that when this is heard or watched, it's going to come back to this man right here and that woman right there. Okay. So I have a feeling tomorrow is not going to be a happy day for a lot of staff. And I think we as a council need to know that and be aware of that.
I think we are. I mean, you can't sit here and vote on something like this or make a motion and not realize that there's other employees, but they're going to have to fall into the same stopgap approach.
Yes.
Sooner versus later.
Yes.
And, it's not that I'm saying that you guys are better than the other guys, that we've got to do what we have to do to protect the citizens of Albemarle. That's what we were elected to do, was to represent them. We have hard calls to make, and, I've had my butt chewed out more than once, and I don't mind that at all. But I appreciate what you say. I understand what you're saying. And yeah, it's going to piss somebody off. But it's not that we're doing it for the spite of doing it. we're doing it in order to continue the process. This is not a stopgap with just you guys. This is something that has got to move forward, and we got to sharpen our pencils and figure out how in the dolly we're going to make it happen.
The final measure on these are,
It seems like the majority of people want to wait. But I grant to you that what you have said tonight and what the people have said by being here, sitting here, listening to all this law, it is worthy. We do need to do what you're saying. And I think what the others are saying is that we can't do it this year. And I think that's enough said. We don't need to go on and on and on with it.
The motion on the floor is to do just that.
To do it right.
To move it forward.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the request. All in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, motion carries.
And I'd like to, while you're staying here, may I please
ma'am.
make another
Yes, ma'am.
motion? I'd like to place a motion on the table that what is in front of us right now, that I know it's March 21st and y'all got to have budget before us in the next 6 weeks, but I want us to see, I want it in black and white, another option for health insurance. I want it in black and white, not just us talking about a health and wellness program this year, but I want something that we can provide folks so that all of our folks realize that we're not just talking this. Okay, we've talked this stuff long enough. It's time for us to put it out there. Because I know we've got some folks who work for us in every department that have to choose whether they're going to have their families have insurance or they're going to have something else. So we have got to do that. So I'm placing on the table that part of this year's budget, I want us to see, we already do the annual compensation statement. I want us to see another option for health insurance that is less expensive or whatever, and some real live additional life and wellness resources out there.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hall,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hughes. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Now we're all,
Thank you all.
Now we're all accountable.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you,
have
guys. Appreciate
we'll
what
have a
you
different
do.
delegation at the next council meeting.
We all email us
we will.
that
We're gonna have to-
PowerPoint,
And that'll be
please.
good.
Number 15,
Thank
consider ARPA
We gotta
work
address
group recommendations for funding tranche number 2. Mr. Ferris.
Yeah.
Sure. Mayor, City Council, at the last ARPA work group meeting, the radio issue, which has come before the mayor and council before, was discussed by the committee, as well as the remainder of tranche number 2, which is $2.588 million approximately. Following those discussions, the ARPA work group unanimously recommends that the city move forward with the radio purchase. The reason for making a decision now is because it was been mentioned that the budget development is in process, and if we don't move forward with the radio purchase this way, it significantly impacts capital and other funding next fiscal year. The second part of that is the work group recommended to withhold any further decision on the approximately $1.288 million remaining in tranche 2 for potentially future needs, grant matches, knowing that the cost of goods and services is going up continually. There could be some cost for some of the previously approved projects to come in higher than what we anticipated. And we're thinking back in the fall when tranche number 1 was approved. So that is the recommendation of the ARPA work group, and that recommendation is now before council.
I have a question. When do we have to decide on the second group or tranche of money? What is the deadline? We have to decide what we're going to do with the money.
end of 2024.
What,
Isn't that right?
end of what?
It's the end of 2024. You have to
Yes, spend it.
Yeah, spend it
Right.
by the end of 2026.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Spend it
But
by
we have to make a
2026.
decision by the ending of 2024. Okay.
Right.
I would like to table this decision. I think that we've decided the first spending plan. I just think we need to table this for future discussion. I think one thing that, we need to consider as a council, and Martha Sue just gave these out, so I'd like to have some time to look at this.
That's right. I just brought these to you all.
That I want to know 50 years from now when people look back at what we did with this money, because we're only going to get this one time, okay? That, and I read this last time. This was a comment made from a mayor in Salisbury, that people will look back on the American Rescue Plan and the ways that it did or did not transform communities. They will look at whether the purposes on which it was spent created a legacy of a better North Carolina or whether opportunities were squandered. I'm not disputing the need here, but I think we have got until 2024 to make a decision. I think we just table this.
The problem is we have to buy the radios now.
Then that comes out of our budget.
Well, then we'll have to instruct the city manager to budget that
Then
out of the
okay,
general
let's
fund
budget that. I think we need to.
Well, that's why I brought it to you, because I've got conflicting messages. I've heard, let's hurry up and make decisions. Let's get this appropriate. Let's let people know what we're doing.
Right.
Which is all legitimate.
Right.
The ARP work group wanted to hold back some money. That's fine too. We sat in work sessions talking about the various annual, regular, reoccurring capital needs of the city. That's a factor in this, because if the radios aren't funded this way, that's a decision that we're going to go forward with the radio and other capital needs that might be. The radios are not an every year capital need, but they will occupy about $300,000 of space in our budget, general fund, primarily in the general fund budget every year. So that's $300,000 less of those other things that we've talked about that we would like to do that don't make it. So I just want to make that clear. It's all, tough decisions. I understand.
It is tough decisions. It's very tough decisions. But I think since we have till 2024, I think we can put it off at this point. I'm calling for a motion on that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hughes to delay consideration of this at this time.
For continued discussion, I'll second that.
Second by Councilmember Hall.
And then I just got a comment that I'd like. Who was at that last ARPA meeting where this was decided unanimously? Because I was not. And
right.
For some reason, it was not on my calendar. Okay. For whatever reason, it was not on my calendar, and I was not there. So who was there?
I think all the members.
Okay. So who are the members so that we all know who the members are?
It's Lisa Kaiser, Keith Tunnell, Chief Bullhorse, Chief Bruton, myself, Councilmember Whitley, Mayor Pro Tem Hall, HR Director Dana Cheney. Am I missing anybody?
So Lisa, Keith, Chief Dana, Chris, and Michael, and me. But like I said, I was not there, and I don't know why I wasn't, because it was not on my calendar. I'm usually better about that than that.
Hell to be human.
Do what?
It's just hell to be human, isn't it?
Getting old.
Yeah.
Mayor. Ms. Louder.
I would just say that if that's going to be the order of our business, that we make people aware of that. And just like the presentation that we had tonight, it was wonderful. But if we decided that we're not going to do, no matter how good the presentation is and how many people come to us and express their needs, that we're not going to do any more of that. So there's no need for them to come.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess I'll only say council needs to be aware that putting $300,000 more into the budget is going to make very tough to do some of these other things that you've asked for. So don't be surprised if the budget comes out, has some things that you may have wanted either deducted, and if we can even do it without a tax increase.
But
I didn't say that. The only reason I say that is because this money you have to buy those radios, and if I don't think public safety is not a good cause or good use of the money, I have to disagree with you there. But it's totally up to council if you want to delay it. You're asking for delay it permanently or for several months, fine. If you're looking for to just talk about it in 2 weeks, I'm fine with that. But totally up to council how you want to proceed. I have a motion and a second on the floor.
And it's not so much, that other one, that $300,000 for ever how many years it would be. ARPA money can be used. There are a lot of things that ARPA money can be used for. And I think that's the reason I don't want to use the ARPA money for it. And that's the reason I brought each of you all this blue book from the league showing you where folks are being creative about using the ARPA money. And I understand it's going to come out of capital. But then there are other that, it was going to come out of capital, fellow members, had we not gotten this money, this holy manna.
Yeah.
Okay. And I like what Mayor Alexandra and Salisbury, I probably heard her say that. She wants to make sure she sees. And I just, I don't think that we're aware that these radios, we just bought them the last time 8 years ago, 12 years ago.
14, wasn't it?
8 years ago. So, I mean, who knows? It may be by the time we get these paid for, we'll have to do it again. I mean, I think Motorola's just got us all. And we're not the only ones they've got like that.
So your Motorola stock.
So I don't disagree with any of that. That's why
Right.
I know Councilmember Hughes asked for what the first tranche was going to. So, health and safety risk manager, public housing, Wi-Fi, develop a new downtown or add to the downtown economic revitalization grant, the Alloway project, park the qualified census tract, downtown Wi-Fi, and then went to the ABC Center for some of the water and sewer project, and then potentially to finance for some assistance in keeping track and documenting a lot of the expenses associated with the administration oversight of the funds.
So with regards to the mayor's question of, 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever, and this just kind of came to me, because we've already gotten the first set of money, right? And we've designated the first
That's correct.
amount spent. Would it be, and I'm asking council this, would it be worthwhile for us to sit down as a council and discuss what do we want to do with this second group of money? How do we want to impact our community? What do we know of long term? We've got some issues. We're going to have issues with water and things we don't see. Okay. So would it be beneficial to sit down as a council and really share our thoughts and ideas on how we want to spend this second tranche of money? We have time to do that. Let's be wise in our decisions. So like in 50 years, when people go back and say, what did the city council do with that money? Wow, how forward thinking they were to spend that money in that fashion. We've got time to make some decisions. That's all I'm suggesting or asking, is that we sit down as a council and let's throw out our ideas on the table and discuss it. We've got time to do that. And I understand these radios are needed. And yes, emergency and those types of things, we've got to have that for our associates to be able to do their jobs. But we need to take a minute and think through how we want to spend this money. We have time to do that. We should not be in a rush. We just got this from the league in our hands. Let's have time to look at it. And let's see if there's a way that we can take what we have and get more and make it more, perhaps from the federal government or grants. We haven't really looked into that. What else? How can we make this money grow? I just think we need to stop a second.
And that was the reason for not designating the remainder of this half, was because now apparently you can use it to match grants, whereas I don't think you were able to do that before. Part of what we agreed to recommend was to designate all the funds, even what we've already received, as lost revenue, because that gives you the greatest flexibility in what you can spend it on. And apparently Geraldine is the one that puts this, apparently not as much reporting accountability on it. So, and the reason that I did support going ahead and paying for the radio, I mean, that's been you know, I'm like everybody else. I haven't liked it since it hit us, but we have to purchase them. And to me, the least impact on the budget was to pay for it with these funds so we can free up $300,000 in the regular budget, general fund, for other things that we might need. Otherwise, we won't be able to do. So the reasoning that's here is the reasoning that I supported doing it this way.
We would have done the radios if we had no money from the federal government. We would have bought those radios. That's my point. We need to do something extra with this money that we could not normally have done. We'd have funded those radios regardless. The federal government had given us $0. We'd have had to buy these radios.
What is the, on the bid, and it may be on there sometime, how long is that bid good for? The proposal we have in here?
I think it's got a time limit on it. It hasn't, and Chief Bruton, correct me if I'm wrong, but the price for the radios, do you happen to know how long it's good for? And we probably, you know, we wouldn't.
It says here, May 1st, 22 is what it says on this in front of us.
So when do you have to be paid? If we have to give you a purchase order by May 1st?
So next fiscal year. Yeah.
Okay, council, I have a motion on the floor that we delay consideration of this, table consideration.
Of the use of the ARPA money. Is that right, Martha?
Yes.
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No. Got two against. Moving on to number 16, consider appointments to the boards and commissions. You have a recommendation in your packet.
Your Honor, I'd make the motion if I could get into it. I can't seem to get into it now. To move up the alternate to 1. You got the same thing I do. To move the, has anybody got it in front of you?
All right, we've moved
Joey Gathens.
Joey Gathens
right.
from number 2 to a regular member
Right.
to replace Keith Wolf. We moved Marcus Owens from the first alternate spot to the seat that Joey Gathens held. He's currently a second alternate. We move him to the first.
Right.
Let's do that first.
So moved.
Second by Councilmember Hall.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hughes. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
And then I'd like to place in the second alternate, Julie Curtis, and the third alternate, Micah Shapiro,
Yes.
as presented within their applications. I have a motion by Councilmember Hall to move up, or to make Michael Shapiro. Is that correct?
Micah.
Micah
But
Shapiro.
it's Julie the second.
And Julia Curtis. I will say, council in the past has hesitated on making these people have so many committees. That will give Curtis a third committee, but that's totally up to council.
What are the three?
It's probably on Parks and Rec.
The Greenway Committee and Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
It's been Greenway.
That's the
Parks and
same
Rec have
one.
been
That's the
merged.
same
Have they been
committee
merged?
now. Yeah.
Council, what's your wishes?
Motion there to do just.
I have a motion, but I don't have a second.
Second.
Oh.
Second by
I'm
Councilmember
sorry.
Hughes. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chief Bruton, information about a fire department grant from the County Foundation?
We don't need it tomorrow.
Yay, it's free.
Mayor, council, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be here this evening. I am proud to let you know that through the hard work and efforts of our departed fire marshal, Michael Rourke, when I say departed, he has left.
Oh, no.
He has left to increase his territory. So he is now taking a job with the county, and we are happy about that because he is growing. And so that is something that, you know, again, we're good with that. But roughly November 2020, we underwent a heavy task, and that was to get team members Swiftwater certified in order to better serve the community and to also keep themselves safe. Well, they took care of that, became state certified, and we saw the need for other equipment. One of the things that we saw the need for was a boat with a motor in order for us to better fulfill our goal. Your service goal of number 2 is health and safety and security. So through the Cannon Foundation, Michael Rourke and the other 3 battalion chiefs put their heads together and was able to successfully submit, and now I present to you a grant from the Cannon Foundation of $27,997 to purchase a speedboat for life safety when there's need for it to be deployed.
Thank you, Chief, very much. And when you see Rourke, tell him thank you also. We appreciate it. We appreciate the fire department going out and get certified on this type of rescue.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I just hope we don't have to have it Wednesday or Thursday with the storm coming in.
Congratulations.
All right. Come around the table. Mr. Ferris.
Just want to, again, congratulate Parks and Recreation Director Lisa Kaiser on the Spotlight recognition through Central Honor Regional Council. Lisa does a lot for the city, as does everybody else, and there's times when other folks get their spotlight and attention, but CRC has, I think, wisely chosen to designate Lisa for this month for very good reason. So congratulations, Lisa.
Mr. Townsend?
Just also congratulations to Lisa, and congratulations to the mayor. And when we just done the approval for public utilities, I may have overlooked it, but did we determine an effective date for that pay increase?
Good catch there.
The forecast numbers that we shared had an effective date of 3/20, which would start this pay period that just started now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, that was the amount that was forecast.
Okay. And last thing, city may have already applied for it, but I was looking at the North Carolina League newsletter. They do have a downtown revitalization grant for $10,000, and I just had in my mind, if we hadn't applied for it, it might go good toward that alleyway project. And the deadline is April 4th. Just FYI. That's it.
Ms. Hughes?
I too congratulate Lisa and the mayor for their recognitions. This has been a little bit, but again, April 23rd is the electronics recycling household hazard collection event. I've already got my stack piling up. And last but not least, are we closer to hiring an assistant city manager?
We are. The process is moving forward. Just got to
Okay.
find the right candidate.
Okay.
So moving forward.
I think that's it.
Mr. Aldridge?
Lisa, congratulations. Great job. Your Honor, congratulations. Great job to you. And that's it.
Ms. Louder? Thank you. Ms. Hall?
Well, my first one was going to be to congratulate the mayor and congratulate Lisa, but that's already taken. But anyway, congratulations. The next thing along the same lines, the league's got those, that grant. The Central Ina has some regional awards that are still open too that we probably could apply for, particularly that public-private one. I'm thinking that if we could do it for the mayor and for Pfeiffer, we ought to be able to do it for the region. We had, and the hazardous, and is that hazardous, Ross, at the Ag Center, like 8 to 1 or something of that nature? Something like that, like it is in the past, in the morning. I know that we had 2, Dan's still here. I have to look over. We had 2 water main breaks this weekend, I think. One on Friday, maybe on 52, and was it Friday? Friday. And one yesterday near my house. And I had, within a matter of, and I saw them out there working down the street, but I've got a lot of people on my street that didn't see it. So, you know, the question I had, and I've was in communication with Mr. Ferris about when does it become not just important enough, but widespread enough that anything that we have, whether it's electric or water or whatever, a utility is out, that we allow folks to know about it. Because from the time I started texting him last night till the time that when we finished it, within 30 minutes, I had 3 people calling me on my street saying, I don't have any water. And these are old folks, okay? They couldn't see it around the curve down at the bottom of the hill. So I just think that we need some, and there might be, and I know weekends are different and that kind of thing, but some standard operating procedure that determines who contacts whom, to contact whomever to get it out there, because it could have been a lot longer than it was on a Sunday night at supper time, folks not being able to do what they need to be doing then. But that was just an idea that occurred from last night. And Kevin, and I can't remember why we don't do this anymore, but was it because of COVID that we stopped having planning and zoning meetings? Was that? Yeah. Right. And it may be, particularly since we're bringing on some new people, that we go back to those trainings, or at least have those trainings available to us. The trainings as well as the dinner meetings, but I just think it's so important since we're all dealing with the same stuff. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Mr. Whitley.
I do have a couple things for a change. The last meeting, we had a request from a resident who's visually impaired for audible alarms on the stoplights, crosswalks. I have that information. The state does have a process. DOT have the name of the engineer that's the go-to. I've got his email address. So I'm going to provide that information to Michael, and what information the individual needs to send. They need to send a letter from a doctor certifying their disability. They send that with a request, specific request, to this engineer, and they will start an investigation and determine if it's something they can do. So, but I'll put that together and get it to him probably tomorrow. Let's see. Saturday morning, I worked at the mini medley relay that Parks and Rec does. Good job. I was glad to see that back in person. I think it's been 2019 since they were able to do that. It's great to see hundreds and hundreds of kids running around the block. It makes me not feel so bad when I'm out there running and I look like I'm dying too. So, but that, congratulations on that. I thought I was at the far corner at 4th and Cannon, so I could hear everybody cheering, but I couldn't see anybody. But anyway, sounded like it went well. As you probably know, we opened the Catalyst Grant program last week. You should have gotten an email on that. Haven't talked with Keith yet. We've got some questions, as I think we will have for a while, clarifications. So if you have any questions and anyone asks you about it, just tell them we're getting it off the ground. We're trying to get the thing rolling. We're running so that we could get through by the end of the fiscal year. We put the cutoff at May 16th, I believe, for applications in this first round. So we'll hopefully, as soon as the next fiscal year is up, start again if it's funded again. But That rolled out last week and is underway. Let's see, I don't think there was anything from RPO. The other thing I wanted to mention is DOT is having their spring litter sweep April 16th through 30th, I believe. And I got an email today from Keep Stanley Beautiful. They're planning some cleanup events on the 23rd, I believe, and whatever that next Tuesday and Thursday is. I was going to ask if I get that information and a contact, can we get that on our
Website.
social media?
Sure, absolutely.
Facebook, to help them promote it. Because if I read that right, they have a cleanup Saturday morning, a block of time, Saturday afternoon, the next Tuesday and Thursday. So they're being a little bit more aggressive. So I'd like to help them out, try to get help them promote that and get some volunteers.
We typically help promote through social media and other means.
All right, I'll make sure. I think that's it.
Mr. Dry.
Again, Ronnie and Lisa, congratulations. Update on the dance floor for the park.
Lisa, you have anything to share at this point? She doesn't have anything ready yet.
Okay. That's it.
Thanks for bringing that up.
You had something else?
I did. I had on Saturday afternoon, no, Saturday morning while the mini medley was going on, I had someone who lives in the route, okay, the mini medley, say that they love having it go by there, but they hate folks hanging in their streets, in their yards, and in their yards and standing in their yards and that kind of thing. And so, I don't know how we not, make it so that folks won't do that unless everybody on the yards, unless we went through there and had them take that yellow keep out tape or whatever put up there. But, on that route, doesn't it go down 3rd and then over
third to
Cannon over to 4th and back on 4th? So, there's some nice yards on 3rd and 4th and even on Cannon. So I don't know how we do that. It's like my daddy used to tell me, you cannot, people doing the right thing, you really can't teach that. They've just got to know how to do the right thing. And some of these people really don't care. They hang out anywhere. But I did have Saturday morning while it was going on, somebody called me and said, I just need to fuss. I just need to. So, thank you.
Further, counsel?
And I would have to.
I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn until Monday, April the 4th at 6:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Dry, second by Councilmember Whitley. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.